For those of you who are new, I am an Akashic energy reader. So what is the Akashic Record? The Akashic Record is a library of stored information. And every action, every thought, and every emotion that we've had since our soul's origination is an energetic attachment. Energy cannot be destroyed, it cannot be created, it can only be transformed. So if every thought we have holds an energetic attachment to it, where does it go after we think it, or after we said it, or after we've done the action? It gets stored into a vibrational spectrum, which is embedded within the fabric of space-time. So you can be trained to go ahead and do this and search for yourself, or you can choose to visit a licensed practitioner who can kind of read that for you and direct you. So that is, in a nutshell, what the Akashic Record is. And energy is, when you think about energy as electricity, say lightning or actual electricity running through the posts that you see on the highway all the time, how do you ground electricity? Electricity is always grounded through the ground. That's why it's called grounding. So we ourselves are energetic beings. So it's really important that we're grounding ourselves as well. So the best, most effective way to ground yourself is just to walk barefoot on the grass, on the sand, just connecting to the energy of earth and grounding yourself, clearing your energetic field. And intention is a really good way to do so that you envision, you set your intention when you're there is to clear any debris that may be stuck in your energetic field. And this is something that's really good to do each and every day, just to be mindful that there are debris and blockages that can happen within our energetic core. And that's kind of what we're going to get into today with our chat on karmic attachments from past lives. So I'm going to start today with asking or mentioning the different types of karma that we do have. So one of the questions you might have is, what is karma? Well, so karma, in layman's terms, karma is the manifestation of consequences to the choices that we've made. So there are two separate entities of karma that we're going to talk about. And I'm trying not to confuse people, so I'm going to break it down into these two kind of platforms: fifth dimensional karma and third dimensional karma. So third dimensional karma is karma that's created within the physical plane. So karma that's created through choice and action. Fifth dimensional karma is karma that's created through thought. So if we're looking into past life attachments, any type of fifth dimensional karma is something that can be cleared. We don't have to do much work to it. It shouldn't be in our energetic system to begin with, so we are able to clear that. That is, the best way to put it is if you were to say, you're thinking something, I hate somebody. That's just a thought form. Your brain may not understand the difference between the logical part of that quote that you just said, or that statement, I hate somebody. But if you were to take action on that thought, that's third dimensional karma. So you hate somebody, now you decided to grab a stick and hit them with it. Now you've created karma in the third dimension. So when you create karma in the third dimension, you create it through choice and then the action that followed that choice. So the only way to create new karma in the third dimension is through new choice and new action. So when I go through your past life information, a certain amount of karma can be cleared by myself and you through your intention. But there's a certain amount of karma that cannot be cleared. This karma can only be transformed. So we need to make new choices and new action within the third dimensional experience, so within physical reality, to clear out that karma. So you might be wondering, well, how can I tell if I have a karma pattern happening or playing out in this life? And usually the best way to figure that out is through repeating cycles in your life. These can vary in a lot of different ways. So individuals who feel like they always attract the same partner in relationships, and you've had maybe numerous relationships that have all ended the same way or all seemingly was the same problem. Well, that can indicate a karmic cycle. You might wonder how you're going to be able to fix it, and you can fix it on your own. And that's why it's really important to have a proper meditation practice, because you can really sit with yourself and understand your patterns, and you can label these patterns as they start to come out. If you're really unbalanced in your energy, you're not going to be able to have the right perspective on how these patterns are affecting your life. So just keep that in mind. And exactly that leads into my next point, is that that's what I'm looking for when I'm going into your past life. I'm not looking to find out if you're a good person, or you did, the best thing by the best people, or this, or how rich you were, or what status you held. I am looking for items that are stuck in your energetic field that are causing you problems in this life. So that's the importance of my work, is there is a lot of information you can get from your Akashic record, but I'm really focused on any information that's going to assist you in your life right now, so that you can bring in the abundance, you can bring in the happiness, you can bring in the relationship connections that your soul is craving. And that's the focus of my work. So that's exactly what I'm looking for here. But there are some attachments that, like I said, that are connected on a third dimension or a fifth dimensional level. So there are numerous types of attachments somebody can have that come from a past life. So you can have attaching souls. You can have vows that you entered into. You can have contracts that you've created, bargains that you've set up. You can then result in having those type of attachments can result in you having stuck negative guides, having tears to one of your 8 chakras or multiple of your chakras, or you can even have soul loss, memory loss, or clouded memories from that lifetime. So there's a lot of different attachments, and depending on each individual, we would kind of break that down. We can remove souls from a past life, but those souls are attaching with an attachment mechanism. So if I have a soul that's attaching to my root chakra, an attachment of abandonment, how that's going, I can remove the soul will be gone, but the mechanism is still there and it's still playing out in this life. So how that's going to be affected me is having a disconnection from the people in my life, my family, my friends, my connection to myself. That is all going to be playing out in this life. So that is kind of just to give you an understanding. And there's so many varieties of attachments, mechanisms that this soul could have hooked onto you for. So it's really specific to the individual, as well as it's very specific to how it's playing out in this life. So that's why it's really important that we talk and find out how. When I start to explain the different possible ways it could be affecting you, then you're going to start to see those patterns, how it came up and how it's still assisting in your life, because the Akashic Records isn't providing me anything that you're not ready to work on right now. That doesn't mean it's telling me everything that's in your record, because there's so much that comes out of it. It's really important that we start working on what we can fix right now, and then we build off that. And in order to create new positive karma, we have to start making new choices. So I want to kind of get into a real life scenario that is one of my attachments that came up. So it was a tear in my throat chakra, and the attachment mechanism was miscommunication. So I had to kind of look in my life and see how that attachment has been playing out in my life. And for me, it was really had to do with not speaking up or valuing my words as I was speaking them. I would very much cower over somebody else who seemed, or somebody else who I visioned to be of an authority figure. So if somebody else who I looked up to or I felt was better than me, we'll say, if they were speaking and I knew that they were wrong, I would never say anything, because I would just kind of cower at that fear about it. So when I pulled this out of my chart, and I knew it right away, it 100% resonated. It made sense. I could go back in my mind of all the times that somebody would come up and I would just have this total fear of confrontation, total fear of speaking my truth. And I had to think of, how am I going to implement change into that area because I'm so nervous about it. And I don't want to do it with people who know me because they're going to judge me and this and that. So I start catastrophizing the whole situation. But then I really want to think about what areas within that can I start making smaller choices? So for me, it was really important to start picking up those phone calls with the scammers. And I know it seems like it doesn't correlate, but this was just to start to clear the energy. So the scammer would call. Normally I would never answer, or, if someone showed up at the door, I would just pretend I was the babysitter. I would never just say, no, not interested. But so in this situation, it was time to listen to their pitch. And then at the end of it, say, no, I'm not interested. Listen to the rebuttal again, keep saying, no, I'm not interested, because it's not hurting anybody. I don't know this person. They don't know me. Even though I'm really nervous talking to them and I can feel all of that energy, I can hear my ego telling me, no, just hang up the phone. You don't need to tell them anything. But no, I'm going to sit on the call. I'm going to tell them I'm not interested, great pitch, whatever else, and then be off the call. And then I kind of slowly started to build off that, working with vendors within my company, asking more questions, getting more information. I just slowly start to build off that energy. So depending on what attachment you pull up with, depends on what choices we will make in order to kind of remove that energetic blockage. And it really happens that quickly once you can acknowledge that attachment is there. And once you see it and you can label it, you can finally release it. And then you'll notice how those type of situations stop popping up in your life. So if you did have an attachment of abandonment as your root chakra, this could be affecting you in your life, that you're unable to get close to people. You always hold yourself back out of fear that people in your life are just going to leave you. You may have had numerous people in your life already leave you up until this point. So you might be overcompensating by people pleasing and giving more of yourself to any situation than other people are giving to you. So if that is your attachment, you're going to have to start to find your soul tribe, find the people that you can really be yourself with. And it's not a bad thing to tell somebody that you do have these issues. Not everybody will take advantage of the fact that you have a fear of abandonment, but you can start changing that energy by believing in the people that you're with and giving the people the credit, and actually starting to express yourself fully about what your fears are, why these things are happening, and then really create special and specific boundaries around that attachment for yourself. So it's really important that we begin to label these cycles so that we can start to create new pathways towards abundance, new pathways towards growth. And like we've kind of went through on our meditations and everything, I work from a very cognitive behavioral type approach. So we create new pathways through repetition. The more you do something, the more you practice, that becomes normal. And I know for a lot of people, meditation doesn't feel normal. We live in a very busy world. We live in a very busy society. So it's really important that we just continue to sit with those feelings. They're not bad feelings. You've created comfort in chaos because that was the normal. So with practice, you'll become very comfortable within a state of quiet, but it takes practice to change any habit that we've created. And that's the importance of the guided meditations that I do, as well as the personalized meditations that you will receive if you do choose to have a session with me. Now, you're probably wondering how the clearing works, because like I said, I'm not a magician. I don't have a magic wand and I can release you from all your karma. I don't. And that's why it's really important for us to, before we leave our session and before we leave our calls, that we're creating new choices based on the attachments that we came with. And we discuss that together based on your current situation and what's going on in your life. Because if my good friend Elizabeth had an attachment of abandonment at her first chakra, it might be affecting her differently than my attachment of abandonment at my first chakra, because we didn't live the same life. We didn't have the same people in our life. So those choices that we made within that life are going to be completely different. So it's playing out different for everyone. So there is no one size fits all karmic clearing exercise. I wish there was. But we have the power to create our experience through our thought, through our choices, and then the following action that we take on those choices. So just keep that in mind. I don't have the power to clear your whole Akashic record, but you do. You are the divine creator of your own experience. So like the fifth dimensional karma that's unjustly attached for you, as long as you're willing and you want it to be removed, we can take that away. That has no bearing and no reason to be held within your energetic field any longer. Third dimensional karma, like I said, we are creating choice and action in order for you to create new karma, new positive flow of karma into your experience. So when you start to label these cycles that are happening in your life, that's the first step. Once you can identify that, how that attachment is playing out in your life, you can label it, you can make a new choice, and then you can finally release it for good. So it's really important to have that sense of self-awareness so that you're not just listening to other people, you're really discovering it for yourself. And that kind of leads to how you will know, and if you haven't had a reading with me yet, how you know you'll be ready for a reading is once you're ready to see results, once you're ready for change, once you're ready to step in to doing the work, because a lot of work comes out of an Akashic record reading with me. Nothing that you can't handle. It wouldn't come up or it wouldn't show up in your record if you aren't ready to tackle it. But it's work. There's homework I give you. It's lovely work. It'll transcend your life, but it really does take a level of commitment to get the life that we want. And that's kind of the importance of why I would even go and look into your past life at all.